Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we're gonna be taking a look at 5 tank heroes that can deal huge amounts of damage. But before we begin, please do me a favor and leave a like on the video, as liking the video helps my channel a lot, and it also helps me understand what kind of videos you guys want. So, without further ado, let's get started with the video. In Mobile Legends, there are 6 roles in total, including the tank role, and by this point, if you have played the game for long enough, you will understand the importance of having a tank, as having a tank in your team could greatly increase the chances of winning the game. And there are also some players who are committed to playing the tank role. But most of the times, you will find yourself without a tank in your team, especially when playing solo. And the sole reason for this is because using tanks can become extremely boring at times, especially in higher ranks, as they cannot kill anyone on their own, because they are meant to absorb damage, and not deal damage. You can even buy damage items to increase your damage as a tank, but doing that will decrease your effectiveness as a tank, and you will no longer be able to absorb any damage, leaving your team without a frontliner. But if you still want to enjoy the game, and deal huge amounts of damage, all while playing as the tank, then here are 5 heroes that can deal huge amounts of damage without buying any damage items. And to make the list fair for everyone, I will not include hybrid tanks, and I will only include pure tanks in this list. If you didn't know, there are a total of 3 types of tanks in the game, and the first types of tanks are called pure tanks. And heroes like Tigreal, Atlas, and Hylos are a few examples of pure tanks. And the second type of tanks are called primary tanks, and heroes like Gatakacha, Minotaur, and Grok are a few examples of primary tanks. And the third type of tanks are called secondary tanks, and heroes like Fredrin, Esmeralda, Edith and Alice are a few examples of secondary tanks. And primary tanks and secondary tanks are also known as hybrid tanks. And these types of tanks can be used for more than one role, as they can be used as the fighter, jungler, and also as the marksman. And that is why they are called hybrid tanks, or also known as half-tanks. Now, let's start with our video, and we have Akai on the number 1 spot on our list. Akai is usually used as the jungler instead of a tank, as he can also deal a decent amount of damage right from the very start of the game, without any damage items. And he is picked a lot in high ranks, especially in big tournaments. And most of you might think that he is a hybrid tank, as he is mostly used as the jungler, instead of a tank. But he is actually a pure tank, and he can deal a decent amount of damage without buying any damage items. And if you're wondering, how is that possible? Then let me explain. Akai's passive and skills allow him to deal damage based on his total HP. Meaning the more HP you have, the more damage you will deal. And this is the main reason why he is so popular, as you don't need damage items. And to deal damage, you only need to buy items that increase your HP, because the more HP you have, the more damage you will deal. And this allows him to stay tanky, all while still being able to kill the enemies. Now, let's move on and talk about the second hero on our list. And we have Belerick on the 2nd spot. Just like Akai, Belerick can also deal a lot of damage without buying any damage items. And compared to Akai, Belerick can easily kill his enemies without much effort. And the difference between Akai and Belerick is that Belerick is mostly used as the roamer, and he's definitely one of the strongest tanks on the list, in terms of damage and regeneration. And what makes Belerick so special is the fact that he can deal damage to nearby enemies without attacking them. Yes, you heard that right, and that's all possible because of his passive. His passive allows him to deal magic damage to nearby enemies whenever they attack Belerick. Meaning his passive is just like blade armor, but the only difference is that his passive deals magic damage. And just like Akai, his passive is also HP-based damage. Meaning the more HP you have, the more damage you will deal. And his second skill increases his movement speed, all while enhancing his basic attack. And whenever he hits an enemy using his enhanced basic attack, he will regenerate his HP. And to top it off, whenever the enemies get hit by his first or ultimate skill, they will automatically attack Belerick, even if they don't want to attack him. And attacking Belerick means they will also get damaged, even if Belerick doesn't attack them. And that's what makes Belerick so scary, especially if he has the battle spell Vengeance. And Belerick is also known as the perfect counter for all marksmen, as he could easily kill them. Now, let's move on and talk about the third hero on our list. And we have Khufra on the third spot on our list. Khufra has remained as one of the most picked tank heroes in Mythic rank and above. What makes him so popular is his ability to stretch and launch himself towards the enemies. And he can also turn himself into a ball, and whenever he turns into a ball, he can counter dash heroes like Lancelot and Fanny, as they would just get knocked up if they try to dash through him. And Khufra can also kill most of the marksmen and mages on his own. And just like Akai and Belerick, Khufra's skills are also HP-based damage. And the more HP he has, the more damage he will deal. And although he is known as an early game hero, if you take Dire Hit as his roaming spell, he will easily be able to kill the enemy's mage and marksman, even during the late game. Now, let's move on and talk about the fourth hero on our list. And we have Baxia in the fourth spot on our list. Baxia is one of the toughest tank heroes in the game. And what separates him from other tank heroes is his passive, which reduces the shield and HP regen of the enemies. Meaning the longer he stays in a fight, the stronger he is. And compared to other heroes on our list, Baxia doesn't deal a lot of damage. But it doesn't mean he's weaker, just because he can't deal a lot of damage. As Baxia is one of the most reliable frontliner, and not to mention the fact that his passive works just like Dominance Ice. So the enemies will definitely have a hard time when fighting against Baxia. And Baxia is mostly used as the jungler, and during the early to mid game, he can still deal a decent amount of damage, and during the late game, he becomes as tough as a rock. So he's definitely the type of hero you would want to have in your team, as he can soak up a lot more damage compared to other heroes. Now, let's move on and talk about the final hero on our list. And we have Gloo as the fifth hero on our list. Gloo is certainly one of the most unique looking heroes in the game. And he is mostly known for his ability to slow down the enemies. And one of the most common reasons why people like using him is because he can attach himself to the enemies. And after attaching himself to the enemies, he is able to drag the enemy with him using his first and second skill. And his ability to attach to the enemies and drag them towards his teammates is one of the reasons why Gloo is so scary. And just like most of the other heroes on our list, Gloo's skills are also HP-based damage. Meaning he doesn't need damage items. And honestly, these HP-based damaged heroes are one of the best heroes in the game, as they don't need any damage items to kill the enemies. And so far, these HP-based damage heroes are mostly dominating the game, especially in higher ranks. And this can also be seen in pro plays. And I think the game developers are working on changing this, so that more people will start using assassins as the carry, instead of a tank. So, what do you think about these heroes? Make sure to let me know your thoughts in the comments, and consider leaving a like if you enjoyed the video. And subscribe to my channel for more videos like this. I make tutorials and informative videos about the game. Thank you for watching.